My friends, it's Judgment time. My quest to reforge the legendary Judgment set started, as always, by upgrading the 3D model. The original is actually very low poly, which makes it all the more impressive that the artist managed to create what is still the most iconic set in the game. That's just another testament to the old masters, which is gonna be a bit of a theme in this video. Some Wrath babies are gonna come in and say,
It's just nostalgia.
but beware that my comment section is no place for your dangerous misinformation. Speaking of which, follow my Twitter. Also, more importantly, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't, and if you really want to help me out, support me on Patreon. I promise it's for a good cause. I do this all on a PC that can't handle the software and it hurts to live. When Judgment was first added to the game, it had quite a different look to it. Here's a side-by-side in case you don't see the changes. As a matter of fact, all tier 2 sets initially looked both very different and lame as fuck. Even crazier is that this was not just the first few weeks of release. Blackwing Lair came out with patch 1.6. The visual upgrade did not come out until patch 1.9, which was actually the patch for AQ, the next raid tier. What you see right here is the original concept art for the Judgment set that we all know and love today. The design was meant to embody the Iron Fist of Justice, the Inquisitor, the moment where prayer and kind words had served their purpose, and the time has come for hammers and chains, compliance or death. The time for Judgment. Funny how it's healing gear. The Azerothian version of the Westboro Baptist Church member has a very busy design, which is fine when it's 99% texture. However, if you pull all these details into 3D, it can get very cluttered and cause a lot of clipping issues. These challenges are as inevitable as people skipping to the end of my videos, and I knew I would be changing some elements. However, my aim was to alter the design in a way that fixes my problem, but simultaneously still convey the same identity and feel that the original did, using modern day graphics. Not changing what it visually achieves, but tweaking the way it gets there. And if not, who cares? This is 2023. If you end up unrecognizably butchering the source material, you can just fabricate a political narrative to blame the fans. In the Netherlands, neither UV unwrapping or rigging provides legal qualification for euthanasia. So I had to bite the bullet rather than plopping it into my brain. And after I did, my model was finished. Behold, my friends. In my previous video, you saw me remake my first set of armor, the High Warlord plate set, for which I painted over the original texture from many components. Normally, this would be the way to go, but this isn't normally. Nah man, this is Judgment, and for Judgment, we go from scratch. If you're familiar with my content, you'll know that I'm not a very good artist. This puts me at a massive advantage on YouTube, because there's no way I would have time for this if I was employed, and time I would need. I was determined to make this my best work yet. It simply had to be. I didn't want to look back at this video in a year and wish that I waited for my skills to develop more before taking on the set of all sets. Nightsabers. Nightsabers. So indeed I painted, and indeed I took my time. And the full blockout of my judgmental friend looked something like this. Good enough. I carefully laid down the base for my lighting, trying to think where it would hit, where the highlights would be, and simultaneously trying to replicate that modern Blizzard look. Which, boy, is that easier than it sounds. It doesn't sound easy. Yes, and it's still harder than it sounds. Or I suck. In which case, sorry Judgment. And Mom? I wasn't sure whether to talk about this, because it's going to be cringe. But then I figured, it wouldn't be a Tomcat video without a little cringe. I'm always fascinated by the idea of achieving a lot with little. Simple tools, simple tech, resulting in an experience or piece of art that time just can't put a dent in. When I play classic WoW, I find myself surrounded by this. Rudimentary, old school fantasy that just hits that spot in my brain. Low poly count, low resolution textures, which is more limiting than you think. Primitive bare bones engine, all coming together into simple beauty. I could whip open Unreal Engine 5, follow 20 tutorials on all the fanciest tools I could find out there for every little thing, from hair to facial animations to procedurally animating muscle tissue to texture generators, and produce a piece of art for you that looks so convincing your grandma thinks it's real. But to smack digital sticks and stones together and produce timeless beauty, that's something no tutorial can teach you. That's talent. An old man classic? He's nothing if not the result of hard work and talent. Beauty. Stripped of all its fancy gimmicks, paired together with game mechanics that bring it all to life around you in a way that, in my opinion, no other game world has managed to replicate yet. 20 years of tech development be damned. And that's in part what I want this video to be. A tribute. A tribute to the Blizzard of old, and the sheer beauty they were able to cram into those scarce polygons that make up vanilla WoW. However, it's also a little bit of a tribute to New Blizzard. Many people have issues with the thematic direction the game is taken, and hell, I agree. I'm waiting for the day my loading screen tip tells me my feelings are valid, alright? It's getting pretty fucking soft out there. But that sentiment far too often translates into misplaced criticism of the art team themselves. I see comments telling me how bad their work is now and how they should learn from me, which is ironic, since my channel is mostly me scrambling to create a Chinese knockoff of the aesthetic they have managed to refine over the years. I've made this point before, I know, but it's worth making again. There's a reason I'm doing remodels for YouTube, and they're doing their models for Blizzard Entertainment. I know the responses this video will get because people have wanted a Judgment remake forever. So have I, and probably so has half the dev team. So rather than pretend like it's their choice, let's make this video a tribute and a manifesto. Furries, I know you like that word. Blizzard. Give the people what they want. Remake this set. Remake the Judgment Paladin. Please. It looks really nice. Special thank you to my awesome new patrons. Blake Johnson, Unintelligible Crow, Eric Seegers, Thomas Vint Jensen, Kyle Gordon, Sulfurster, and David. And since I didn't do a verbal shoutout last time, Daniel Feeney, Joe Withers, Chaotic Blue, Fester, Connor Gladen, and Foe. Thanks for being awesome. I've recently made an account on Kick, and I actually plan on streaming on this account. However, I first need a new computer, because this one sucks a fat cock.